Hi.
Yeah.
No joke, I was just focusing on my dog.
Powerful, isn't it?
So good, thank you.
But let's take a moment and talk about why. Because little resistance there, is there? In other words, that's something that when you focus upon, you open right to, in other words, you are in absolute agreement with your inner being about your dog. How many things do you think that you are in absolute agreement with your inner being about? Are you in absolute agreement with your inner being about your worthiness? Are you in absolute agreement with your inner being about your value or your intelligence or about the wonderful things that are coming to you? You see what we're getting at? The things that you think so much about in opposition to what you really desire keep you out of alignment. But when you have something like that there's almost no resistance about, now everyone doesn't feel that way about their dog. But if you do, that or anything, it is a very good tool, as you have all demonstrated, for coming into alignment. Yes. Enough?
No. I want more. I'm so loving it here, and I'm loving all of us, and I'm loving my expansion.
Yeah.
And I have so much reverence for my contrast because it's always taking me exactly where I need to go.
Reverence and appreciation.
And appreciation.
That's step 5, knowing its value.
My question is about fine-tuning my experience within step 5. And
you remember step 5? That's where you're back in step 1, but you're not mad at yourself for being back in step 1. Because you know the value of the contrast. You know it's going to lead to something meaningful.
I feel like my most powerful qualities have been born out of my most intense contrast.
Well, your vortex is certainly filled because of your contrast. And the more intense it is, then the stronger the desire is in the vortex, yes?
And I'm realizing now I don't have to let the contrast get so big to get what I want.
Perfectly said.
And
I realize that it doesn't matter if it does.
And it doesn't matter if it does.
In other words, I can control it a little more as time goes on.
Yes.
In other words, it can be big and I still benefit, or it can grow gradually and I still benefit. It's all good.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And I'm wanting to fine-tune my experience within my step 5 because I don't find that I beat myself up about it so much anymore. I see the clarity, and I'm wanting to play with getting more specific with that clarity. I get going general, and I love knowing that I don't have to do anything. It's all in my vortex.
Well, let's stop. Before we get too involved in step 5, let's just revisit what step 1 is and what its value is. So step 5 means you're back in step 1, only you're understanding it this time and you're not mad at yourself. So now you understand the whole process. And so what's step 1 again?
Asking.
Step 1 is asking. And so let's say that step 5 is asking for something even more about something that you've asked for before. In other words,
yes.
Now you've settled into it, maybe you want more from it.
Yes.
In other words, isn't that what expansion is? Isn't that what evolution is?
Yes.
Isn't that what the evolution of all species is? Isn't that what puts the eternalness in eternity?
Yes.
So we are acknowledging the value of step 1. So can you give us a scenario where you're moving along, you're feeling good, you're managing your energy, you're not just in step 3, you're so good at it because you want to feel good that you're commonly in step 3, which means you have mastery of step 3. So it's really unusual when you feel negative emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And since it's unusual when you feel negative emotion, it means the negative emotion is telling you what? What does negative emotion, especially, it'll be easier to answer this when you think about a rare moment of negative emotion. A rare moment of negative emotion, what's it telling you?
What I desire.
So it's pointing out to you, this rare negative emotion, that your desire has done what? It's expanded into a new place that you have not had an opportunity to practice yourself into steadiness about.
Yes.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
So, and you certainly want to practice yourself into steadiness about it, because otherwise you can't close the gap. You can't fulfill this new desire that the contrast has given to you. Did you hear that? That's really an important thing to understand. So if I'm used to feeling pretty good, so I'm in step 3 and in step 4 and in step 4 and in step 4 and in step 3 and 4 and 3 and 4, feeling good, feeling mostly good, and then bam, something hits me and it hits me hard. What does that mean? That means I gave birth to a desire that is new, that I'm not used to being up to speed with, and my emotion is telling me I have an opportunity to figure out what my inner being is thinking about it, that clearly I am not thinking about it.
Yes.
And do you know what it is 99 times out of 100? I don't have it yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's usually all that it is. Something that I want, I don't have it yet.
And I can feel that because the clarity, it's new clarity, it's a new expansion. I'm getting what I want, and then I want something more that I haven't wanted yet. So I haven't practiced that steady focusing, and that's what I want to talk about, is the bridging.
One day, Esther was dusting an etagere that had many beautiful things that Jerry and Esther had gathered up from a lot of different places. And it was a glass shelf, and the glass shelves were sitting on little pegs. And Esther didn't realize that she had dusted it, and it had moved, and it was about to drop off the peg. And so she put her dust cloth on this top shelf very lightly, and it was the last straw, so to speak, and the shelf gave way, and everything on that shelf broke, and it broke everything on the shelf below and the shelf below. In other words, it was a cascading breaking of things. And so certainly what you could call a step 1 moment, because beautiful things that they'd gathered from here and there and everywhere were now glass pieces all in a pile on the floor. And Jerry came here to crash, and he said to Esther, stand still, because he knew her feet would be bare, and he didn't want her to tromp through the glass in a panic. And he said, stand still. And he came in, and he saw it, and he laughed, and he said, oh, good, something to want. Oh, good, something to want. Something to buy, something to want. And this is the way we want you to feel about that, so you're aware that you're not where you really want to be. In other words, you didn't mean to feel this way, but no worries, because out of it is born something that is so worth having had the experience, which makes us really want to say to you that your inner being often calls you through those experiences that you think you don't want to live, because they are important to the accomplishing of what you really do want to live. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, and I know you talk about this all the time. You've truly answered everything, so I'm really just up here for the fun of it. But I know that you do speak directly to the person in the chair as well as everyone in the room.
Yes?
I want to talk about the bridging process, because I get the going general. I want to experience more of the getting specific.
But you see, now, in some ways, you're doing what we were teasing you all about doing earlier, which is I'm just going to try to dig in and make it happen fast. Is it not enough for you that the fact that you're in step 5, which means you're back in a contrasting moment, isn't the fact that the contrasting moment has put more into the vortex, isn't that some satisfaction to you?
That is.
And do you trust the process?
I do trust the
And do you
process.
believe that your inner being is tending to it?
Absolutely.
And do you believe that it's inevitable that you will receive it?
Yes.
And do you know that you will receive it when you're ready to receive it?
I do.
And do you think that hammering that you're not ready now is going to make it come faster?
So the bridging process.
So the bridging process is letting it go. The bridging process, the bridging process is not making a big deal out of it. The bridging process is saying the negative emotion that I'm feeling means that I have a different point of view than my inner being. Inner being, I'm looking forward to knowing what your point of view is, but clearly I can't hear it now because I'm having a step 1 moment. But I'm not mad at myself for having a step 1 moment, because I know the value of the contrast, and I know the value of what I put into the vortex, and I know that now it's over there, that it's in a better place, and I know that I've expanded, and I know that it's inevitable, and I know that I know, oh, I feel a lot better. What was that? Oh, yeah, now I get that.
So trust.
That's the bridging process.
Trusting.
The important part of step 5 is the not being mad at yourself part.
Okay.
The important part of step 5 is being in step 1 and not being mad at yourself. And that's the emphasis that you want to put there. Esther finds herself laughing about it often. Oh, here I am. Here I am. Is anybody looking? Don't look. Don't look. Here I am. Here I am. But isn't it worth a little bit of contrast to have expansion? You said it was when you decided to be born. Not one of you said, I don't want to go. Not one of you said, I'll go, but get the contrast all out of the way, and then I'll just go and just enjoy what has been created, but I will create no more, because you knew the endedness of that. You were eager for the new thought. Don't you really? Do you know what we mean? Do you think you've experienced what you think we might be referring to when we talk about that sweet spot of creation? That run you get on where it feels to you like all things are opening for you. Like you just know things, and you're just in the right place at the right time, and you just feel good, and you look out into the world and it looks good, and you rendezvous with people that feel good, and you have conversations that surprise and delight you, and you just feel blessed, and the new idea just keeps coming. And you don't feel any lack about what's yet to come. Instead, you feel awareness of what's happening now and appreciation for it. Are you so human that you want it to just get over with? Or can you embrace with us the powerful deliciousness of eternalness? Don't you like knowing that you are eternal, and that means you can get on this run of manifestation, on this run of inspiration that will just carry you from blissful moment to blissful moment to blissful moment? Don't you just want that to go on forever? Can you wrap your thoughts around the emotional state of feeling satisfied and contentment, to feeling fun and fulfilled, to feeling interested, to feeling whole, to feeling worthy, to feeling appreciation, to feeling exhilaration, to feeling passion, to feeling satisfied, to feeling interested, to feeling love, to feeling certainty, to feeling understanding, feeling knowing? In other words, just moving through life, and that's your range of emotions. Oh, I know that. Oh, I understand that. Oh, I really like that. Ooh, I'm savoring that. In other words, that's who you are. That's what you've